First of all, people have asked me, when did you get interested in Baba? When did you look for him? Truth is, I was not looking for Meher Baba. I was dragged into Meher Baba by myself. Literally, threatened. We were in Mexico. Jack had just passed the bar. This was 1968. Actually passed the bar in 67, and I had sold my house, and I had other rentals in Los Angeles. So this was a period of where we were both free. He hadn't had a vacation for years because he was going to summer school, law school, nonstop. So I said, okay, if you pass the bar, and even if you don't, we'll take a trip to Mexico. We'll take our time. Maybe we'll take 3 months, 4 months, 6 months, a year maybe. He said, well, all right, let's go. This was the time of the flower children, as you recall, 1968. And drugs were just coming into fashion. Nobody knew the bad results of drugs. Everything was beautiful, flower children. So, of course, everybody in law school was taking drugs, and of course, Jack was one of them. So then, anyway, how he passed the bar is Baba's grace. Because he doesn't remember even he was stoned the night before, but Baba, he passed the bar. His friends who were studying day and night, some of them didn't pass, but Jack passed because Baba had other plans for Jack. So I had a camper, and I said, let's go. So we went to Mexico. I said, I used to live in Mexico. I lived in Puerto Vallarta. 6 months out of the year, I would go to Mexico and spend the winter there. This time I was through with Puerto Vallarta, and I said, let's find something. We found it. I looked at a bookstore, and I found this book on Nayarit, this beautiful paradise, unexplored. Let's go. So we went. It was even more beautiful than the book had said. It was literally like Tahiti before it was spoiled, this place that we found. On the beach, palm trees, people were innocent, and tourists hadn't discovered the place. If you surfers, because it was a surfing place, I don't know, anybody who surfs here knows Mazatlan Bay, my long bay surf, wave. Okay, so we found this place. There was a waterfall, hot springs, a river, fish right in front of us, mountains with bananas, papayas growing. Paradise, it's like a bit of Hawaii or Tahiti, okay. So I leased an acre of land on the beach. Dig a hole, and there's water right away, fresh water. Built this very comfortable grass house, fireplace, everything is perfect, and a whole acre of it under these palm trees. But I was interested, Jack and I were interested in spiritual matters. In fact, I had a spiritual master, Yogananda, SRF. And Jack was too, but he was looking for something more. And I was satisfied with my meditations, and I loved Yogananda. So I thought, I'll stay here, I'll have a chance to meditate. Jack was doing it also. We went to the beach, and there was all these young people surfing, and people from Los Angeles, just part of home, Santa Monica Beach, So he met this boy, Frank Hardy. We had all these metaphysical books before we went. We stacked my camper. Kundalini Yoga, Secrets of Tibet, Hatha Yoga, everything to do with metaphysical. $500 of books stacked in this camper. Except Meher Baba. We didn't have Meher Baba. We had everything. So we went down to the beach, and he met somebody who had the same books. We were all also into religious science before Yogananda. So he met this boy who was in exactly the same trip as he was. He was into Yogananda, he was into all the things, plus he had Meher Baba, books of Meher Baba. So Jack invited him over to our place. He was camping on the beach and said, meet my brother, he says to me. And I looked at him. I said, come on, there's room, brother. I have a whole acre, put your tent here, fine. He brings all his books. Same thing, except Meher Baba. God speaks, discourses, God-man, avatar. And a big poster. The ancient one, I don't know if you remember, this was Peter will remember, it's a big poster. I am the ancient one, I was Rama, I was Krishna. So then Jack put it up on the wall in the middle of Jesus Christ, Buddha, Yogananda, all the other masters, Baba in the middle. I said, fine, one more master, that's fine. And so then he brings all his books, and Jack was looking, I wasn't, I was satisfied with my master. He started reading his Baba books. And one day he says to me, Baba says, stop taking drugs. I said, yes, that's what I said, but... You know. He says, and he says to be responsible. He says, go back and face the world and your responsibilities and your... you can't hide in the jungles and find God. You've got to face the world and unconquer it. I said, that's what I said, you know. He says, okay. He says, he makes a big bonfire, and I couldn't believe how much stuff he had because he burned it all there. And he made a ritual of it, the Tibetan Book of the Dead ritual of burning, you know. He's really doing, I've been telling him, no use, you know, he won't listen to me, but he did it. Baba told him to do it. So then he said, Baba says to be responsible. I said, that's what I said, but take your time, you know, we'll be here 6 months, that's fine, we go back and practice law. He wasn't going to do it. And I was in not such a hurry either, I needed a rest, you know. So then one day, he caught hepatitis from where, I don't know. He just turned yellow. I said, you look like a Chinaman, what's wrong? He said, I'm fine. Okay, all right. And the next day, oh, I'm sick, you know, I'm going to see a doctor. Okay, take you to the city, to Tepic, which is like 30 miles away. The doctor starts looking for needle marks, you know. He says, no, he's not taking shots, you know, illegal. So he gave him, what can you do for hepatitis, right? Put you in a diet of B complex, you know, starch and whatever it was. He says, do you want to go in the hospital? He says, no, I want to stay in the beach. Fine. But you need somebody to give you a shot every day or every other day of B complex. There was no medicine, except he just got so weak, weaker and weaker. Okay, fine. So then I had a deadline of having to cross the border on, I'll never forget, July the 8th, I had to cross that border or lose my 6-month visa, my car, my van, my bus, what, I have a camper. And you were Jack sick in May, fine, we still have a month, we can go. But he just didn't get any better, he just got weaker and weaker. And I thought, how are we going to cross the border? 1,500 miles to the border? And the time came closer and closer, and pretty soon there was like 5 days left. And I was just paralyzed, like, I looked at Jack, I thought, he's going to die. I suddenly panicked. He's not getting any, my God, he's going to die in the jungle, here I'm all alone. And I went, oh my God, it was like the last moment, I thought, I just as low as I could. And here I am, all alone in this jungle here. And I looked up at the pictures on the wall, and I said, help me, one of you. Help me, I don't care who you are, help me, one of you. You know, I looked at anybody, Baba, Jesus, anybody, just help me, one of you. And suddenly, I thought, oh my God. Suddenly a presence was in the room, and I went, look, here's Baba's picture, smiling at me, and I went, suddenly it was like something charged in that room, just, you know. God, this moon smiling, you see? He's not saying, but I'm hearing this now. What are you worried about? Everything is fine. There's no life, there's no death. It's just life, endless life. And he said, I'm Brahma, I'm Krishna, I'm this. God, could he really be the one? And just to assure myself, I looked at Jesus' picture to be sure. And he was smiling, yes, we're all one, everything. I looked at Buddha. They all just like came to life. I look at Yogananda, you sure? Yeah, everything's fine. There's no life, there's no death, one life, one existence. My God, I can't tell you how it felt. I was just, Jack was sleeping. I said, Jack, wake up, you're right, it's true. What you said about Baba. He opened his eyes. I said, you have the same look, you look just like them. He smiled, he said, why don't you look in the mirror? I looked in the mirror and I had that same look of everything's fine. It wasn't me, but it was me. And I looked, what are you worried about? everything's going to be fine. Existence infinite. And I was, my God, it's true. Are you really the Christ? I looked at the picture again. Yeah, well, it's just, I'm Jesus, I'm Christ. It's just one consciousness, the avatar. I said, it's real, it's true. In that second, I don't know how many minutes passed, I knew. All the fear was through. All the fear was gone. And had power. Okay? We're going. In 3 days I was packed. Because I couldn't decide what to do. I said, I'm going to drive that camper. Jack, get in the back of the van. I don't care if you're sick, we're going. Yes, you're going to be responsible. You're going to go practice law. Let's go. In 3 days I was packed. I don't know how. I just was dragging. I couldn't leave that beautiful beach. I started getting attached to it. I was in that car, in the van, let's go. And me alone, driving, you know. But I knew that Baba was there. Everything just fell into place. You know, I was just absolutely fearless. In the jungles, day and night, of driving through Mexico. And I knew that somebody would come and help us somewhere along the way. Sure enough, there was 1,500 miles, about 700 miles, here's somebody, an American boy, hitchhiking. Put on my brakes, yeah, hi, where are you? Hi, where are you going? He says, I'm a peace worker from San Salvador. I'm hitchhiking, I'm going to Houston to visit my family, I have a leave of absence, can you give me a ride to the border? Come on in, you know. I said, meet Jack. I opened the door and there's Baba's picture. And he goes, who's that? You know, Jack said, this is Meherabad. My God, he went. He got in the car and he took over and from there on he drove, you see. I knew somebody was coming. He says, who's Meherabad? I said, why don't you ask Jack? So we stopped, parked somewhere. Jack told him he was a Baba lover in 10 minutes. Yeah, he is God. I felt it when I opened the door. So here we are, 3 of us, you know, going through the jungles, 3 Baba lovers, you know. And we would park in the middle of the desert, and we had this stereo, and we had the Grand Canyon suite, and we'd turn it on, a storm going on, we were just so happy, this Baba, we found it, you know. You know, just in the middle of the desert, just, this Grand Canyon suite, you know, just in heaven, you know. You all know, we all experienced Baba. Okay, we go to the border. I said, well, I guess you have to go to Houston now. He says, no, you're my family. I'm going with you. Where are you going? I said, Los Angeles. I'm going to Los Angeles. I said, how about your family? You're my family. I said, wait a second. Your family's been waiting for you in Houston. He said, I'll go later. Now I'm going with you. He drove me all the way to Los Angeles. And then I had another house, a rental that was vacant. They had left it, abandoned it in the valley. All the plants were dead. It was like coming from this lush jungle here into this city, you know. It was like concentration camp. All my hedges had died. Everything was dead. The house was open. But I didn't freak out. I said, well, let's go. Baba's in charge. Nothing. It's all empty. They'd taken everything out. Hadn't paid the rent, you know. So we go in. That's all right. Baba's in charge. And I didn't get upset. We just put our mattresses there, you know. The next morning we called the telephone company, the gas, the lights. No, just candles. Nothing. Abandoned the house. So right away I had power. I mean, I could do it because Baba was behind me. I could do all these things that what am I going to do, you know? And Jack was looking for Phyllis. Is she here? Phyllis? I guess she's not here. Because this boy, Frank Hardy, had contact. And Phyllis had given them the books in Mexico. This book. So Jack said, Phyllis, we've got to find Phyllis. We have to go. So as soon as he could, his friend came, you know, we called on the phone, his friend came, and he was very weak. In fact, he had to go on crutches, he could hardly move. And he had a beard, you know, he was spaced, but he had hepatitis. It wasn't that he was drugged, it's just like, from hepatitis. So they go to see Phyllis, she opens the door, and here's this spaced, person with a long beard and crutches, and Phyllis, so then they got to be real good friends, and he wanted to move right there, right on the beach, right now. So then he parks his car. Phyllis says, park your car and go to the beach, So he goes to the beach. She used to live in Manhattan Beach. I don't know if anybody remembers that, long ago. You remember yours. So he's sitting there on the beach. And then there's somebody sitting next to him, and hi, how are you? I'm Jack. He says, I'm Ivan Moscow. Remember Ivan Moscow? He says, I'm interested in Baba. He says, Baba, so am I. Yeah, they're looking. And here's my apartment right on the Strand. And they're friends right away. And they said, I want to open a bookstore. Jack says, let's open a bookstore. And right there they decide to open this Hermosa Beach bookstore, which is the first bookstore in the United States, I guess, or in the world. So they open a bookstore, they send a letter to Baba. Baba sends a telegram, my blessings to you, and the bookstore and everything. So here they are. Remember, you were in Northern California then, huh? Anyway, so they opened this bookstore. And me, right away I told my family, do you know what I found? God is on earth, Jesus Christ. And they're looking at me like, you don't believe me? Sit down, have a glass of water, like, come on, you've been with Jack too long. These flower children, they do these things. And I know it's really, really helped me. Well, have another glass of water, which I'll have some now. So all my friends, my intimate friends, but can't you see it's true? Come on, how can Jesus Christ, like Baba and God, who's God? He would come in a cloud or something. Nobody believed me. And the day after day, I would, be so enthusiastic. And I didn't know in those days that when you have an experience, you don't tell people who are not Baba lovers. You lose the experience. After a month, I thought, I wonder if I was imagining this whole thing. Then I started to wonder, wow, maybe it was the jungles, I don't know. But I know I saw him, I know he helped me. But after a while, gradually, after 2 months, and then pretty soon Jack said, aren't you coming to Phyllis's house to meet her? And then I was a little bit afraid of Phyllis by then. I said, well, yeah, when I have time, and I started avoiding Phyllis. Then I started avoiding Baba meetings. I went to one of them, and I went, maybe, I wasn't ready to give up my life, my friends, my status, my everything, to be following Jack and his crazy hippie friends, I thought. Or my friends told me that was what it was. So then finally, it came to the point where I just avoided Jack and his friends and Phyllis. I wouldn't go there. I have other plans. I go camping with my sister, go back into the world of regular people who don't see visions or see things, That's the real world. And one day Jack says to me, we're going to Myrtle Beach. Myrtle Beach, what's that? That's on the East Coast. That's where Baba lived. Baba lived. I'm not going. I said, no, I'm getting money because I had money. And he says, you have no money? No, I have no money for Myrtle Beach, I said. He says, okay, then I'll sell my stock. I'll pay for your ticket, but you're going to Myrtle Beach with me. And I said, no, I'm not. He says, if you want, I'm serious, if you want to see me, you're going with Myrtle Beach with me. And I went, oh yeah, okay, I'll go to Myrtle Beach with you, threaten me. So we go to Myrtle Beach, and there's Jane Haynes, and there's nobody there, one person, We're the first people, 1968, October, nobody's there. Kitty's there, Elizabeth, come for tea, for dinner. I don't know how many dinners we had at Elizabeth's, movies about it. And the whole time I was fighting this thing. No, Jack gave me the book, God Speaks. I said, God is unconscious. I threw it down. God unconscious? How can God be unconscious? But anyway, I still loved Jack enough that I didn't leave, but I kept threatening, I'm going, So then one day he says to me, tomorrow we're going to visit Baba's house. Baba's house. Oh, no, I'm not. No, I'm not. And it says 4 o'clock. Jane's having us for tea, and then we're going to Baba's house. Oh, I said, oh, no, I'm not going to go there. So that day I managed to go into Myrtle Beach, Chapin's department store, and buy, and I disappeared the whole day. I'm going to go into a motel, I'm not going back. I don't want to go to Baba's house. But somehow Phyllis Ott found me in the department. What are you doing here? They're waiting for you in the department. They're waiting for you. I said, waiting for me. It's 4:30. She says, yeah, Jane's waiting for you. She won't go to Baba's house till you come. You better get in this car. I said, no, I'm not. She said, yes, you are. So all right, I got in. I said, how do you know it's God and all this? I just didn't want to go. So I come late, rude, And here's Jane, gracious. Come in, dear. Have a cup of tea. Sit down. We're waiting for you. And I'm going to Jack. He says, I can't help, she waited. And here's Baba's picture. And I'm going, oh, and very gracious, everything. I'm going, no. And she says, now we're going to Baba's house. So, yeah, we're going, walking. I'm getting close to that enclosure, and I'm going, oh God, I guess I'll just have to go. So I go in, start taking my shoes off. The minute I took the shoes off, it was like all the resistance just, it's like a plug. You know, when you take a shower, you have the plug and you pull the plug and go, I was just empty. Oh, what's going to happen now? Baba must really have had compassion. Why he kept fooling with me, I'll never know. All I know is when I walked in that room, in the living room, it just started happening again. And Jane said, this is the kitchen, and this is, this, and now this is his bedroom. And I just look at that bed. And it's just working on me. This, oh my God, I said, it's true again. Again, he gives me a second chance. And I'm fighting the whole thing. Second chance. I just felt his presence. It's so strong. This love, this power, this light. Oh my God, so I'm going to bow down, but I don't go down all the way, just sort of, and I feel a hand. And yes, you God, I said. And I just broke down, I just wept and I cried, and all these things happened that I don't know, I can't tell you, because you have to experience it, this, it's true, it's real, it's there, it's white, crying. Finally Jane says, time to leave now, so we go out. And I go out of there in just absolute daze. And this time, it's for real. This time, nothing's going to change me. This is real now. Second chance. I didn't deserve it. What did I do? But there it was. I walk out of there. I look up. Then that God speaks that I did not understand came back to me. One consciousness. God is everywhere. I look at the tree and it's alive, I look at the earth. It's, the whole God speaks just came to life. So I went, my God, it was a different, I don't know what happened, whatever it was. I was in a daze. I walked down to the lagoon cabin? No, the cabin on the lagoon. It's surrounded by water. Lake cabin. I'm sitting outside and I'm watching boathouse. I'm watching the fish. I'm seeing evolution, this fish. This is the most momentous event. Here it is, And I'm going, it's real. Just incredible. That night, I couldn't eat, I couldn't sleep. All I know is that the whole night, it just went on, this creation of lights, flashing, I don't know, just Baba, I wake up in the morning, my pillow is soaking wet. I've been crying all night, and I squeeze the pillow. But I don't remember crying all night. And it goes on again. Again, I go out of there, and I'm going. So I go down to the lake cabin, and there's a woman who just arrived, and she comes to me, oh my God, my husband just left me, he told me I was this, I was that, And I'm going, I look at her, and I go, like, what? And I said, it's all right. She says, oh, it is all right. She says, oh, just calm down. Sit down. I said, sit with me. I don't know what happened, but she just calmed down. And this went on, I think, for 3 days. I just, out of it, couldn't eat, couldn't sleep, just dazed. And then I knew nothing ever going to change me now. I'm going to drop my family, I'm going to move away. So I stayed there longer, and then we got a telegram that Baba said, I'm going to give darshan. Oh, we're all so excited, that we're going to India to meet Baba, God-man. So then we came back to Los Angeles. I didn't even go back to my sister's house. I just stayed with Jack, and I don't know where we slept. I can't remember where I slept. And I went to the Baba meeting, and I announced, I said, where can I sleep in somebody's floor? Anywhere, I want to move in with a Baba lover. I can't go back home. And Patty Thorne said, well, I have a one-room apartment. You're welcome to stay. And I said, I sleep on the floor. I'll pay the rent. It wasn't a question of money. It was a question of, I want to be with Baba people. And Peter was there at that time. So we just, those early days, we were just, all of us, like we just came to Baba. We were just clinging to each other. All the Baba people in Hermosa Beach, Redondo Beach, and then we were getting ready for darshan. Oh, we're going to get shots. We're going to go to India and everything. So finally the day came. And just then, we got this telegram that Baba had dropped his body. I was in Mexico then when I came back, and all the plans were canceled, and I went, here we were just going to go. And anyway, we went anyway, didn't we, Peter? Did you go with us? We decided to go, regardless. And you know that he was present? He was right there. There was his chair, and he was there, and we all felt it, I think, Peter? We all felt it. He says, I'll give darshan. He says, but I'll be lying down. Do you remember that? Does people remember that? He says, I'll be there, I'll give darshan. And he was there. It was just incredible. We were just flying. The whole trip took 2 weeks. We were only there 5 days, I think. And then we went to see the samadhi in Mehershad, in the earth. It hadn't been covered yet. It was still earth. It was just, I could feel it, the power. And he was there, just. It was like, we didn't have to see the form. It was here, it was there. It was like a presence everywhere. So we came back to Los Angeles, everybody on a honeymoon, everything. And then John Page opened a bookstore in Venice, and then Judy Page and C. And later on, I opened a bookstore with Alan Saviscos. We took over. And everything was just forever happy, I thought. So on October 19th, 12th, we all went on a picnic. 5 of us, Clive Adams, my sister, 2 other Baba lovers knew. Who else? 5. There were 5 of us. Hiking in Yosemite, and on the way back, this girl drove, and the thing turned over, and the 2 people were killed in an instant like that. It exploded, and I broke my hip, my leg. We were all like the worst accident of the year. Just yelling, Baba, 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 Baba. And they took us to Visalia because we were near there, And all the time, I didn't care if I was going to die or not, just repeating Baba's name, flames, and, ambulance. And I was saying, don't give penicillin to my sister, she's allergic to it, and here I am all crushed and everything. Anyway, there I was. So then, I didn't know what happened to Laurel, remember? Laurel Folds and Chris Anderson. Well, they were burned instantly, right there. And I don't know how it is that I knew that they were burned. And then they corroborated it. So the doctor came, they said, well, she's just too sick. She can't be operated now. She may have internal injuries. I could hear all this, So 2 days they had me, like a plumber with all these pipes and everything. Then I sort of woke up and I saw a nurse. I said, what are you doing here? She said, I'm just knitting. She was a nurse watching me. She said, she's just sitting there knitting a sweater. I said, oh. But then, I think I went through the death experience because I just started to float away. And then I found myself in this beautiful, luminous cloud. And of all things, there was this Chinese sages, all luminous, and I looked, and I didn't see Laurel or Chris. But when I said, they're all right. I don't have to worry anymore. And so then, it was such a blissful experience. It was like, I could feel Baba, and it was joyous. And I thought, whoa, wonderful. Then I wake up, and here I am in this broken body. I said, what am I doing here when I was so happy? But from then on, it was like, I wasn't afraid. It was Baba, I took over. I went through that surgery, I came out and barely had any pain. I had some morphine for a while, and pretty soon I didn't need anymore. And the nurses said, you're more cheerful than I am. I have problems at home. The doctor says, hey, you're in better shape than I am. I was like 3 weeks. Anyway, I went through the whole thing with no bad memories. No bad memories. 9 weeks in the hospital. 3 weeks in intensive and 9 weeks in some sort of halfway hospital something. They brought me home, and I was just never even thought, why did this happen to me? Nothing. Baba was all around me, everywhere. And I was all broken up. I didn't know I was going to walk. I still have the pin in my leg. But just so blissful through the whole experience that it didn't matter. I had this accident, so what? Here's Baba. Okay, you think that would last forever, but it didn't. So life went on, everything was wonderful. And of course, we had to come down, right, and face it's not a honeymoon forever. So then we started going to India every year. Jack, it's 1970, I went to India. Jack went for 2 months, and I stayed a year and a half in Asia, and I was with this cane. Meher still remembers I came in with a cane. And I didn't come back for a year and a half. I was in Asia. I went to Burma, to all over Asia. And the Mandalay, they remembered me. So they said, "Oh, you're back, Virginia. I've been waiting for you." I said, "You remember me from the darshan?" "Oh, yes." They remember everybody, These people are more than human. And yet they're so human, the Mandalay. And yet their love, they're just reflecting Baba's love. They're just reflecting. So anyway, I just didn't want to come back anymore. I just wanted to stay in India with the Mandalay, Then I had to leave the country because 6 months visa. I had to go out 6 months, come back 6 months. So I came back to the States. And then from then on, Jack and I kept going to India 2 months out of the year. And then by 1973, Jack said, "Look, we're spending a fortune going back and forth. At least let's be comfortable when we go, because in those days there were we could only, no pilgrim center, nothing. It was just the house of Vilu, then we could only stay a few days in Meherabad." And Jack and I said, "Let's build a little house near the tomb that we can come to for 2 months out of the year at least." So those were our friends who had this farm, so we ordered this house, 2 rooms, just so we could have a place. I never dreamed I would move to India, But then Adi started working with, Jack, I started working with Adi. And then somehow, Jack said, "What's the point of going back and forth? Why not live?" I said, "Fine." So 75, we moved to India, to that house, which was built for 2 months out of the year. It was not a home. So when I moved there, then I realized that the contractor who built it, which we thought was a Baba lover, who said he was dishonest. They had not built the foundation. It was like 5 feet, it should have been 10 feet. It started to crack, things began to shake, nothing was solid. And I've been living with that ever since, by the way. And this is how Baba, hammered me, crushed me, ground me. Because I thought, I am such a good architect, I can remodel any place, I can live anywhere in the world. I lived in Mexico, I lived in Philippines, anywhere. I can handle India. India is different, believe me. They say yes and they don't show up for days. Yes, Nim Sahab, We'll bring the rocks, because we had to keep on building. They don't show up for days, and they say, "Oh, my grandfather died, my uncle died." I said, "How many members are left in your family, Anyway, this went on, and I thought, my God, I thought I could do anything in the world, but here, Baba says, "You're nothing here, we're going to grind you here." So it wasn't easy. Okay, so we moved there, no electricity, no Frigidaire, no movies, nothing. Deprivation of all the senses. So there was nothing left but either leave, crack up, or go to love Baba. One of the 3 things, right? There was no choice. What could I do? I couldn't eat ice cream. Everything was contaminated. You get amoebic dysentery. But Baba was there. There was the tomb. There were the Mandali with all their labs. So I was being supported. There's like Mani's story about the clay. The potter who shapes the clay and grinds it, and then he beats it. But then the hand is in the inside to support. So Baba was beating me on the outside, but he was supporting me from the inside. So this, so you see this, let me see, now I'm getting lost here. But there were the rewards, right? All right. Then what happened was after 2 years, it was too much. My health just gave out. I was in the hospital with amoebic dysentery twice. And then finally the man said, "I think you should better go home for a while." So I came, 1977. I was here 2 years. In the meanwhile, I told Jack, I'm not going back until we have enough money to put electricity, buy a Frigidaire, have a few amenities of civilized life, drive a car. So he did all that. We did all that. So then 79, I came back, and there was electricity. And a lot of you stayed at my house in Mehershad, right? While they had electricity? Before, okay. You all know Mehershad. So when I came back, wow, a Frigidaire. Wow, electricity. Every little thing. Oh, exciting, like water, anything. Here we take everything for granted. There, we have nothing. And then the people started, and then I just started really loving this place, because now I could sew at least, I could read at night. I listen to the shortwave radio. No television, nothing but a few little things, I could drive the car to the tomb. Before I had to walk, I had no car. But anyway, so now we come to the point of, then pretty soon then they build me Pilgrim Center, and now things are so...